Welcome to Karagor Studios Remnant Lunar Archon. How are you? Hope you're having a great day. We're doing pretty well over here.
What session number is this?
Oh, yeah, this is session 48. Session 48. I think it's on the picture, as you can see if you look at your screen. That music got real loud real quick. Let's turn you down a little bit. There you go.
What day is it?
It is Saturday, the 20th of May, year 417, at 10 p.m., because I wanted to go back to the night before the long rest, because I know I had kind of narrated into the night and mentioned that Garand and Thicket both had a harder time falling asleep, one from excitement and one from fear. But there was one thing I wanted to do before the sleep time.
The lovely cinematic cliffhanger cutscene.
Yeah, there was a cinematic cliffhanger cutscene where y'all descended into the tower of the library and saw a woman with a very large witch hat with purple flowers on it. Purple and gray flowers. But for the rest of what y'all did, I want... No, John did it 2 times ago. Gron did it last time. I should get one of your other 3. You think you can do it, Thicket?
I can certainly try.
Go for it. Give the recap.
What city are we in?
Vane. V-E-I-N.
We arrived in Vane at some point in the past. I don't remember if it was last session, but we're here now. On the way, we received a letter, at least the OG party members did, inviting us to a celebration of sorts, I think for the solstice.
Correct?
Oh yeah.
That is going to be held in the main city of Vacuo. Correct?
Correct.
Correct. All right.
You're doing
but
great.
anyways, we're in Vane now, and we went to the library so that we could try and... Oh, wait. No, wait. First, Goran did a spectacular job playing music. It was very cool.
But twice.
It was very cool, and now he's scared that he won't live up to the precedent he has set for himself. While he was doing that, preparing himself for his music gig later that night, the rest of us went to the library so that we could research things such as connections to Aether, so that we can find stuff about the spears and keyblades that we're supposed to find. And also things related to Garan's little friend, who is not little at all.
Not even in the slightest.
And
described to have a wingspan wider than that of a 747 commercial airplane.
So, also doing research on some evil, scary lady that we don't know. And
Hate that evil, scary lady.
Thicket tried to find stuff about the moon and whatnot. And also, big plot point, the librarian, whatever, dude, was like, hey, Thicket, let's try a thing, I'm curious, and had Thicket try and walk through a door that was enchanted in some way that didn't let certain creatures pass through. And dun dun dun, Thicket couldn't walk through. And now Thicket is having an existential crisis. The end.
Yes, that was most of it. On the way to Vane, y'all got the letter for the Hain Institute Solstice celebration that you have been invited to by... I'm forgetting her name.
I did all of that from memory.
I'm very proud of you.
That was good. That was amazing.
It was great. Honestly, from a month ago, I wasn't expecting anything. Because that was straight up a month ago.
Mine wouldn't have been that good, and I took notes.
Yeah.
Sylvia Lopez. That's the person who invited y'all. Who get y'all invitations.
It was a canon event for Thicket. He remembers a lot.
For real. Yeah, you were locked out by the door. The
Do-do-do-do.
man who you'll never ask the name of, librarian boy, um, got y'all, instead of Tuesday meeting, the next day at 11 a.m. So Sunday
We
at
got an
11 a.m.
expedited meeting.
Yeah, an expedited meeting with the Lord Librarian Sasha Hellion. Garan performed quite well again. And now as we enter, as you're going back to your rooms, which you would have been offered... how many people do you have in y'all's party right now? We have... It's looking like... 6.
Oh, I forgot something. Wait, there was also another thing that happened.
Yeah.
Garan did a very good job playing music again that night, and also Thicket and Garan had a bonding moment.
Yes,
Yeah.
another canon event
Mm-hmm.
of bonding
Mhm, and-
relationship moments.
I remember Gambit also like totally did not realize what was going on with Thicket, and then like made fun of it, and then Thicket started crying, and Gambit had to like completely walk back with what was happening.
Yeah. Gambit showed himself to be
Gambit-
even less aware of social
Gambit had a
cues.
social awareness oopsie.
Yep. But you realized it, and you tried to fix it, but whoopsie.
Oh, whoopsie.
Schwipsy.
Yeah, and then as y'all go upstairs, y'all would have been offered 3 rooms on account of the fact that there are 6 of you. Presumably the rooms are double bedded. But as you would have found out from Geralt, spelled like Geralt but pronounced like Geralt, would have let you know that you have 3 rooms, courtesy of Lady Grace Lavania, who seems to have stepped out after Garon's performance. Presumably has something to do before the end of the night. Yeah, y'all don't know where she is. Not that it really matters to y'all where she is, but she gave y'all these rooms. You have 3 rooms. Who's going to be in what rooms?
I think we are still like
I get the impression...
keeping John under somewhat of a house arrest.
Okay, John is still in newbie tier.
Does that mean I'm still
Doobie
sleeping with
Joe.
Doug?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems fair.
Sweet.
I love how
Doug.
Doug is the person you put people you don't trust with. And who are taking the other rooms? Gambit, Garand, Maverick, and Thicket. Of course, Jackie was going to go wherever Garand goes.
Gambit will let Gron take Thicket because,
That's fair.
Thicket needs emotional emotional intelligence right now, and
I love that that Garan is the emotional intelligence character with such low wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, high charisma does some help there. Okay, then as you go up...
My whole goal is that the wisdom.
Yeah?
It's fine. It's fine. If we're moving on, I don't want to.
No, you're fine.
Or anything.
No, you were saying
It's y'all's
something.
game. Go for it.
I want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying like the whole point, the whole point where Garan is coming from is effectively like, he's quick to trust anyone that might give reason to like kind of help solve things, and he's also aware that he's not very aware, so he tries to overcompensate, which means that he can sometimes have analysis paralysis. That's come about from like him trying to like consider other sides or other choices that we could take. And so like that's why whenever someone says something to him, he's very surprised. He's like, "Oh, I didn't cover something. I missed it." So
Trying to think ahead of all the things the conversation could have while the conversation is happening.
Right.
Nice. But as you get up there, y'all would have been given keys and divvied them up. would y'all have wanted to go to your rooms earlier in the day, or would y'all have been given, or would y'all get those keys after Garon's performance?
Um,
After Gron's performance, probably.
if it's a question of how early do we enter the rooms, I would guess we might have dropped off some items, maybe, for
Yeah.
ease of traveling. But otherwise, we would like officially go to the rooms after Garon's performance.
Okay. If you had gone and dropped stuff off, then as you go back up there and go to your separate rooms, Gambit and Maverick, though others would be able to see this, as you have 3 rooms, one across the hall. So one is on one side of the hall, and the other 2 are next to each other on the opposite side. We'll say the one that is on a side on its own is the one that Gambit and Maverick are on. There is a small nail put into your door, which is kind of a shame because it's a rather nice wooden door. Unless any of y'all are woodworkers, you wouldn't necessarily care. But there is a nail put into your door that has a folded white letter on it. Like a crisp
On whose door?
white piece of paper folded over and nailed into Gambit Maverick's door.
Gambit will pull out his hammer and pry the nail out.
You pull
And
the nail
read
out, taking the paper
the
into your hand. Make a perception check. It's not a hard one.
Boy. Can Gambit see?
You have high perception, and it's not a hard one, so probably.
I have hyper. When did I have high perception?
Well, I mean, you have slightly above average. And 18, you definitely got it. It's because you have proficiency. That's where the perception comes in.
Oh, I see.
I'm going to throw the item onto your sheet. It is under the perfumed letter name, and I am going to go ahead and identify it for you.
Perfumed letter.
And I'm going to share it on your
Sure.
screen.
Yay, perfect.
1 second, y'all. Be right back.
I wish there was a thing in my inventory that allowed me to like collapse the portable hole so that I didn't have to like scroll through everything that's on there. You just like open and close it.
Cool beans.
Come again?
I said cool beans.
You read the letter?
Yes.
Did you tell the others what the letter's about? You don't have to, but the others would see you pull this off your door, and Gambit read it. You don't have to say anything. You could just say you go in your room.
Yeah.
No one's saying anything, so.
He's gonna go into his room for a minute.
I think Gambit has a secret admirer.
Why are the beans cool?
Good question. Why are they cool?
You've
someone
never
leave
had
them out?
gold beans before? Yeah. Well, like, super
How
gold
old
beans.
are these beans?
Oh,
beans.
several days. But that's what makes them good, you know?
I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah, like cold beans was like one of the best foods that we would get. It was a good day when it was cold beans day.
That sounds very sad. You've tried Cedar's milk, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, it's kind of sad looking back at it, but you know,
And we made toast that one time. Ooh, you should try
When
the beans
you're-
with toast.
when you're mostly living off of, you know, moldy bread, cold beans is pretty luxurious.
Sounds like merry days.
Were the beans also moldy?
No. They were
I
just
guess
cold.
they're not that old.
Yeah.
Have you tried warm beans?
I have not. Well, maybe. Probably.
Are they better than cold beans? Or
You know, objectively, probably. But, like, nostalgically,
Yes,
there's something
nostalgia for
comforting about
prison.
cold beans.
Don't you love that
Stockholm
prison
Syndrome
nostalgia?
Beans are a
Mm.
musical fruit.
are cold beans your favorite food?
No. I don't think they're my favorite.
Do you have a secret admirer?
I don't know. I actually smell trap. Smells like a trap.
What does a trap smell like?
Roses, apparently.
Yep.
I mean, that was me, Micah. You just answered the question
We'll
by
say-
yep.
We'll say it was Maverick.
Yeah.
Roses, apparently. Even I can smell
since
it.
he's right next to the letter.
Oh, I'm sorry, not
Yep.
roses, strawberries.
But I like strawberry.
Mike, I forgot. It says strawberries, not roses.
Mm. I am intrigued, but I don't want to go to jail.
What?
Are you discussing this out in the
Why would-
hall? Or did the others follow you into your room?
I don't know.
Are you in your room right now?
I'm supposedly, yes. So
Oh,
I guess
okay.
we all went
Well
into
then.
Kevin Maverick's room.
Y'all shuffle into Gambit's room, which these rooms are actually quite nice.
Are they right next to each other?
Yours is across the hall from the other two.
Oh. It'd be cool if they were, like, conjoined.
That would be neat, but they're not.
Okay.
I can imagine they're conjoined by a hallway.
Yeah.
Hey, Maverick, do you have any disguise spells?
Let me think for a second. I have mirror image.
Mm.
I can make it look like there are 4 of me. Why?
So, this person wants me to meet them out in front of the library at midnight. Sunday at midnight. What day is it? Is this Sunday?
Saturday.
So does that mean midnight tonight? Because that would be midnight on Sunday.
Yeah.
Or is it the midnight after Sunday?
Honestly, I don't know. Sunday at midnight. I think that means tonight, right?
Sunday at
Well,
midnight.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
not far from that time. So I mean, it's like what 9:30, 10 something. It's
Mhm.
later already, so
Yeah.
there's
I
nothing
think
wrong with waiting and going now.
Yeah. I think it's tonight.
Did it say anything
But-
about being alone?
It did not. It said, would you do me the honor of meeting me by the fountain in front of the library Sunday at midnight? I will
Is
have a
it-
large blue umbrella.
Is it addressed to you?
It is. It's addressed to the gentleman with the wide brim hat.
I have a hat.
Yes. I think it would have said straw hat though.
Oh, you're right.
Um,
I mean,
my
I mean, if there's
concern.
nothing saying that we can't be there, I don't see what's the problem.
Yeah. Well, see, my concern is that they mentioned their sleuthing skills. Um,
Like a detective?
like a detective. You know what
Ooh.
detectives work for?
The people who hire
I
them?
mean,
Authority.
right. Well,
Oh.
I
And you know what
mean,
authorities want?
I could dress up like you.
Yeah, but I don't want to, like, even if you, like, dress up as me, then they're still gonna put you in prison or, or, you know, arrest you or apprehend you because you dressed up like me, a wanted criminal.
No,
You know?
hold on.
They're still suspicious.
What if what if they got the wrong person, right? And then I threw them off the trail for months or longer because they thought that they had the right person by description, and it turns out I'm completely different than who they thought. So then they're looking for someone else.
Well, if they're a really good detective, Gambit, you said whatever crime you were charged with, you didn't actually do, right?
Correct. Correct.
So if they're a really good detective, then they'll probably have figured that out.
If they're paid to figure that out. If they're just paid to track me down and bring me back, then that's what they're gonna do.
But that's not a detective, that's a bounty hunter.
Detectives
That's
can
true.
arrest people. Either way, I could go for you. I have disguised self.
Oh,
And you guys don't care that much about me.
well, I wouldn't say that we don't care about
That's an
you.
simplification.
Um,
Some.
I mean,
I think
we
it
don't know
just
you very well yet.
it means that we haven't trauma bonded yet.
I care that you're not dead.
I think he's accurate in that we care less about him than everyone else so far.
That's really
But not
what I
enough
meant.
for me to want him to go to jail for something that he doesn't really associate.
I've been to
it
jail.
with.
I can handle it.
I have wild shape.
All right, but let me ask you this: how
I can't turn into
Love it.
Gambit, but I can turn into a dog.
How adept are you at obfuscating certain factualities, John?
What does obfuscate mean?
I think he means lie.
Oh, me lie? You know I'm good at lying.
I mean, I can lie well enough, I think.
No, John. I'm asking John.
Oh.
I think I
See,
can lie
right
well
there,
enough.
Gambit just convinced himself
Again,
he was
if
John.
he's wanting to, if he's he's so good. He's convinced himself of the lie. No, no. So that was really my hope, is that I was going to go dressed as Gambit and then see what I could see effectively and lead off the trail of the scent, so to speak. But if you'd rather do it, I mean, if you feel like you can manage the possible truth scope of
I think it's best
what
if
is
I
necessary.
do it. But I'd like to be on tight watch so that people can bail me out if they find that necessary. You know? Like, I don't want to put someone in to take the shot for me, but I don't want to take a shot unnecessarily.
Well, if you want somebody with you that like is unassuming, how much does Thicket look like an actual cat?
I
That's
can turn
true.
into like a house cat.
Can you
Hey,
turn
there you
into a
go.
ferret?
That's pretty unassuming.
Probably.
That would be so cool, and you could like wrap around my neck like a scarf.
That would be so fun.
Yeah, I like this plan.
And we all be put in the
Yeah,
bag of
yeah, you can do that for a couple hours, can't you?
Yeah.
I like
We have
this
a limit
plan.
on air in that.
Wait, what?
I think
Doug suggested the bag of
I
holding.
think Thicket
Oh,
is able to help
we
us
don't have
breathe.
a bag of holding. We have a portable.
Oh yes, same. Yes, portable hole. Can you help us breathe in there?
Not right now. I could if I sleep.
Hmm.
I think Thicket being with Gambit should be sufficient, and we can just be nearby.
Yeah.
I'm going to prep and be there at about 10:30 as a passed out drunk in the alleyway.
Okay.
I
I'll
can
probably
always
get
just
there at
play
like
my lute to myself and sit at a distance and listen or wait if anything goes
well,
down.
they were definitely like watching me across the room. So they probably know that I'm friends with you guys. So
Hmm.
you might want to keep a lowish profile.
I can use disguise self and be anything I want.
Do I
All
have
right.
pass
Within
without
reason.
a trace prepared?
Do you have
I
what?
do. I have pass
Nice.
without a trace prepared.
What is it?
Pass without a trace. Gives you advantage on stealth checks
Oh,
if
fun.
you're within 30 feet of me. I think. Yeah.
Are the Dawn Guard people around in this area?
Wait, no, it's not advantage. It's a +10 to stealth check.
No, the
My-
Dawn Guard are only in. The Dawn Guard is the local guard and protection for. Sheer.
Okay.
Vane does have its own guard, but it's not the Dawn Guard.
They're not fancy like that.
No.
Mm-mm.
So is that the plan then?
I think so.
Ron and I hang out in an alley and Gambit and Thicket go to the meeting.
Yeah. I would save pass without a trace though, in case we need to make a getaway.
What do Doug and I do?
I feel like pass without a trace would be beneficial beforehand too, because it lasts an hour.
Okay.
But it's only around the area that you're in, so if they leave that area, they're no longer benefiting from it.
Yes, but they could stay within the area and be stealthed the entire time instead of just at the end.
So where is the rendezvous?
At the fountain in front of the library.
And is this like in the center?
It is toward. Excuse me. It's somewhat centered in the city, but it is slightly in the direction of the east. Y'all are toward the western side, near the river.
Are there any bars, pubs, or taverns near there?
Make an intelligence check. See if you remember.
Or would,
Not that you can remember.
I guess as they were walking around, were there certain buildings that were higher up than others?
Sure, some buildings have 2 stories, most of them have 1.
So, perhaps,
Certainly
uh,
less dense than the city you were in before.
What time is it right now?
It is about 10:30 now. Y'all been talking for a few minutes.
Could we go right now and like scope out the area before they get there?
Probably a good idea.
Is that what you're doing? You're all walking toward the...
Here's my thoughts, right? And so if we're running, if we're running out of time, right? I think maybe John, go ahead, disguise yourself. I'm going to mess myself up, change my appearance of sorts, and then we go on ahead like we're looking for another pub. We're not ready to go to bed yet, right? And so we've left, where we were, what have you, and we're going to find a pub there. Then we leave from there, and maybe we're going outside. We're gonna roll some dice or something, just something light, whatever. And then we're nearby, so in case something goes off, we're ready to assist. That I think is great. And then as you folks would then leave afterwards, like, I think that's our best bet. Does that work for everyone?
and
I think I'll leave disguise self until a little bit closer because it only lasts an hour. But yeah, otherwise it sounds good.
hey Maverick, you can tag along with me. I'll get on the tallest building and then throw a rope down.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. Sorry, you're letting John and Gerond go first.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. As you two go, you make your way, and it's about a 5-10 minute walk from the Dancing Goose. So around when you get there, around 10:40, 10:45, the others following not too far behind. You see the fairly open and pretty much empty front courtyard in front of this library. A fairly large open area, lots of grass, seems to be almost a park, set in this front open area that's at least a couple 100 feet from the fountain that lays in the center, out to the streets and businesses at different sides. Not so far that you couldn't run to, but that it would take you a round or two at least of running to get from the street to the center of this park. It's a fairly bright night with the waning gibbous 3/4 going down moon. Slightly on the warm side, but doesn't feel bad. Feels nice. There's a little bit of wind, stars glowing in the sky. Not too hard to see in the evening. Even those of you without dark vision would have dim light that you could work by. I assume you're looking for a pub or something, Garand? Is that right?
Yeah, and if possible, I'm going to try to convince John to cast it sooner rather than later. I'd rather to enter a pub and we don't look like ourselves, and then to leave that pub.
All right. Unfortunately, as you look around, it does not look like there is a pub within direct view of the park.
Okay, would there have been one on the way?
There would have been one. A restaurant or pub of some kind in the evening, pretty easily.
Then, all right, then like maybe like two or three alleyways before that, I would like to go into that alleyway and then dress myself up, whatever deception performance, whatever you feel is appropriate. And I'm getting out one of like the like blankets or whatever. I'm gonna make it into like a makeshift poncho type scenario. I'm gonna be like changing my hair in some ways, like be dirtying myself up somehow. Do you think is reasonable with what is around? And then I'm gonna try to convince John to join me in this deception now. Walk into this pub as a different pair, friends, whatever. We're going in, we're just having a pint, and then act like we're kind of already tipsy, and then we're just kind of making our own little pub crawl, effectively.
Okay. Make a deception check. John, are you doing disguise? Similar type of deception? What are you doing?
Um, I'll do similar type of description. What is the point of the pub crawl then, Grand? Just so we're not followed, or
The a con is better sold the more that you put into it. So if we're going to try to con this detective into thinking that we're just two lads about on
Oh.
town,
okay,
then it makes sense that maybe someone saw us enter another pub already.
okay, yeah, I'll do
That is
disguise.
horrendous. Do you see that roll? 3.
Yeah, that was pretty bad for you.
Dirty.
I'll
That was even
I'll,
after the D4.
I'll cast disguise self. Just do like
Yeah,
a
if you're doing it.
similar.
Yeah, so you'll also
That's-
need to make a deception check, but yours will have a
That's-
much lower DC.
Okay. Let me find my skills here. Deception.
I'm just gonna have to hope that my performance outdoes my deception.
Yeah, because John's just fine. As y'all two are going through, by the time you're getting to the park and kind of wandering around the park, probably closer to 11:10, maybe even close to 11:15. We'll go to 11:10 for now. You currently do not see anyone at the fountain. In fact, as it goes over toward 11 o'clock, you see different buildings just in the city, lights going out. There are still some lamps that seem to have an ever continual flame within them, but quite a bit of it is most of the home lights seem to be going out as the town seems to be going to sleep in a way. And then Doug and Maverick, what are you doing?
Yeah, we are just casually walking around. Doug is just trying to find, I guess, the highest vantage point. That's also like within close proximity. And then as soon as he feels like there's an all clear, he is just going to like try to get on top of the building and then allow Maverick to get up.
So the tallest building within view of this park is quite clearly the 3-story library. Other than that, there are a couple of 2-story buildings. There are a few shops near the park. No pubs, that there are a few closed shops. And you even see one, what seems to be just a set of 3 townhouses, all built into one building but separated in terms of front doors and such, that are 2 stories tall. Still doesn't give
Does
you
it-
the clearest view because you're looking a couple hundred feet, but you at least have a view and would be able to look pretty much over some of the trees that are in the park. As the park is fairly stable ground, it's not a hilly area by any means.
How far from the library is the fountain?
About the same as all the other blocks, plus probably 10-15 feet, so you're looking at probably, let's see, we'll say that it is 415-ish feet, 420 feet from the fountain to the library. Not a humongous park area, but 800 square feet, we'll say. I don't know how big that is. It's hard to visualize things like that in your head.
Okay, so I guess in that case, instead, Maverick and Doug might try to use the trees within the park and like climb up.
Yeah, climb up and hide in some trees, closer to 50, 60 feet off from the fountain, if if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, since even a bow and arrow wouldn't work from that distance.
Yeah. All right. In that case, I need you and Maverick to make stealth checks. Maverick will be doing so at disadvantage. It should auto proc because of his armor, but I'll see.
So plus a D4.
Maverick, despite the disadvantage, roll a total of 17.
Huzzah.
And Doug rolled a 20. Nice, y'all are doing pretty good. And now for the final crew.
So how much would that have cost me to buy those beers? Because I mean, I'm selling it. I'm definitely
If you're
buying
buying low quality beer, like 4 copper pieces.
That's fair.
Low quality beer is not expensive in the player's handbook that I
All right,
remember.
got it.
The more expensive alcohol in the player's handbook is when you
So
get to
that was
fine
2 each,
wine.
right?
Yeah. 2 copper pieces a person.
I covered him.
All right. Thank you.
I'll be like, no, I've got it. Don't worry about it. It's all right. I'm a down under elf.
Stumbling through the park sometimes as y'all make your way around, ever looking for the next pub that will never come. Gambit and Thicket. What are you doing, Group 3?
When do you want me in weasel mode, Gambit?
Wesselton! It's pronounced
A
Wesselton!
little closer to time.
What?
A little bit closer to time, I think, is when we should go.
Okay.
Maybe like, I don't know. Like 11:50ish.
I can be a weasel for 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, you can turn into a weasel whenever you want.
All right. What are we doing until time? Are we going to scope out the place, or just wait, or I don't know what we're doing?
We'll probably go like around like 11:30 to kind of like look at the place. But I don't feel like a huge need to like scope it out unless you would like to. Gambit's probably just gonna like nervous pace around because he has no idea what's going on. He's
All right.
really curious, but also very scared.
Thicket's looking forward to becoming a weasel.
Mm-hmm.
It gives him something else to focus on tonight.
So what's the plan? Are y'all waiting till midnight? Are y'all looking for a certain time period?
We'll go over around like 11 11:40ish to like
Thicket will go weasel mode as soon as we leave before we leave the room.
okay. And then he'll go to the fountain around like 11:50, 11:55.
Alright. I need Garon to roll a D100.
Does wild shape work properly anymore?
No,
Okay.
sorry. You're lucky. There's a 25% chance of something happening. It's not going to happen.
Dang it.
Dang it.
I like it when fun things happen.
That's fair. But not everything happens all the time.
I think it's
Chances.
very fun to be successful.
Fair. Gambit, are you trying
I
to
think it's very fun
disguise
to be
yourself in
successful.
any way,
Thanks,
or
yeah.
just brazenly
No.
approaching?
Just gonna kind of go and like sit down. Is there like a bench or something to sit down at?
There are a couple of benches around the fountain. It's a fairly large fountain, a total of probably about 10 feet in diameter. It goes about 6-7 feet into the air with 3 different levels to it from the base, a second, and then a third level on top. What seem to be these carvings of... excuse me. What seem to be carvings of fish poking out of the top that pour the water in the 4 separate directions from the top as it cascades down. Seemingly to be pouring continually. You arrive in the night. As you walk to it, you do not see anyone. Actually, make a perception check, both of you. Let me see what a weasel's perception is for you.
It should stay the same because I'm druid.
That's true. It's a mental thing. Go for it.
Not good.
Not great for you. Gambit, you notice Garand walking with someone you don't recognize. You do not notice Doug or Maverick. Thicket, you don't notice anyone.
Thicket will poke at the water and also keep an eye out while we wait.
Where are Grand and I in relation to all this?
It sounded like y'all were wandering around and then in the park. Is that right?
Okay.
Like wandering through some of the
We can be
different
about-
pathways.
I think if we can keep within like 90 feet or so of the, maybe like 120, something like that. Something where like I can get within 30 feet and then zap with Eldritch Blast if I need to.
That's not too far away.
Fair enough.
Staying relatively nearby, sitting on a bench for a few minutes here and there, looking like you're catching your breath or enjoying a drink, and then moving on. As you sit and wait, Gambit, looking around, clock passes over midnight. And 12:10, 12:15. How long are you going to wait for this mystery person?
Maybe about like 12:30.
All right. As it reaches 12:30, as it's been a few minutes, none of you seeing anyone. No large blue umbrellas. Start to think that it might not be this night.
Oh, rip.
They lied. It wasn't midnight on Sunday.
Technically speaking, midnight on Sunday is the first hour of Sunday. So they don't know how to tell time.
Yeah, there are two potential answers. One of them is they don't know how to tell time. The other is they lied to you.
Or
Take your pick.
yeah.
Something happened.
Or-
No, but we. Oh no! Oh no! Gambit's gonna book it to the hotel rooms.
Running
They were trying to
back,
get us out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
you get to your hotel room. The door is closed, as it was before.
Did anything happen to Jackie?
Did you leave Jackie at the room?
Been able to take her, everybody would recognize her.
All right.
How often do you see a jackal appear?
That's fair. That's fair. Left Jackie in the room.
Does it look like the door's been tampered with?
Make an investigation check. Doesn't look like it.
We all run back
Okay.
with her.
That's up to you.
Gambit's gonna open up and.
Thicket definitely did because he's on top of Gambit right now.
Yeah.
Thicket definitely rode back with him.
It's holding on for dear life.
Gambit's gonna open up the door.
Open up the door, and everything looks the same as where you left it.
Okay. Whew.
Do y'all follow behind the rest of the group?
Doug is still waiting, even after Gambit rushes off.
I think I'm gonna chase after Gambit because I realize something's wrong.
Garand?
I'm like, hey, where you going, mate? No, we got to get back there. No, I don't even know what you're doing. I've got to come on now, and I'm gonna follow him like I don't know what's happening.
Fair.
I'm still in performance mode. You have to understand the way that Garon thinks. Yeah, this is like let's keep selling this con. We have no idea what's happening, so
Y'all
Commit to the bit.
get back. You would have gotten back a couple of minutes after Gambit did. Well, actually, if y'all followed pretty soon after, probably like a minute after Gambit did.
Doug's gonna wait until like 1 o'clock.
All right. Gambit and John, are y'all doing anything when you get there? Seeing Gambit looking around in his room? Not seeing any evidence of wrongdoing? Not
Check
yet.
your rooms to see if anyone's messed with them. Because it could have been a trap.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna go see. Okay, I'm gonna go see if Jackie's all right.
You poke your head in your room, and you see Jackie lift her head up from where she's laying on your bed. She tilts her head at you.
Hey, I say, girl, was there anything wrong? Did anything happen?
I'm gonna slowly open the door to the room.
You open the door, John, and it looks the same as you left it.
Suspicious.
At least from the outside. You can investigate around if you'd like, but from a cursory glance, you don't see anything.
All right.
Yes.
Kara. Yeah, I wanna try rolling
There we go.
investigation and
There's-
see if I can see anything out of ordinary.
Jackie enjoys your scritches. But from the investigation, neither of you
Alright,
find anything. Nor does John.
Okay, as long as she doesn't seem to like have noticed anything, like she didn't hear or sniff anything, I'm gonna trust her.
No,
Good
she
enough for me.
seems sleepy and chill.
So
Can I make my own checks?
either
the
we can
rooms?
try
You
this
can.
again, like tomorrow.
it-
Leave it.
Investigation or perception?
It would be investigation to look for something odd.
Sad.
Mm,
Nah, I think it's got nothing.
I think it's very fascinated with
Nation.
a close
that's
up of Gambit Pat.
Intimidation.
Around 1:10,
I think it was trying to
Doug
intimidate Gambit.
and Maverick would come back.
Oh, sorry. It's the same roll. Oh wait, it would have been worse actually. It would have been a 3.
I think it's fascinating, Pat. Around 1:10, Doug and
I will
Maverick
go
are
downstairs
gonna
and ask if.
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry, continue.
I was gonna say, like, if after everything else and Jackie seems fine and everybody else is still seeming like they're freaking out, then Garam would go downstairs and ask, was there a lot of traffic, up on their floor where their room was?
You walk down and see Gerald.
He's gonna ask down.
Holding a small book. He seems to be writing something, and he looks over. Yes, how can I help you?
Yes. Out of curiosity, did you see someone go upstairs and leave a note, and then later come back, check on the note?
I haven't seen anyone leave any notes. A couple different patrons went upstairs. Some naps during the day, but not in the last few minutes, if that's what you mean.
Any of them? Oh, how about the last few hours, like since like shortly after dinner?
He thinks to himself. It's possible. Why does it matter?
Did any of them not have rooms and they just went up?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. Well,
Though there aren't many beyond you all that
we're
have
under the
rooms.
impression that someone. Well, simply, we're under the impression that someone might be trying to either get a hold of us or locate us or communicate with us in some manner, or something more nefarious. So,
There was a young lady
if
that asked
perchance
about
you do
earlier.
remember something, or you can,
Oh,
There was a young lady that asked about the one with the eye patch earlier. Asked what
which-
room he was in.
great. Did you see her more than once, or just the one time?
Just the once. I'm sorry, I can't give you any more details. Privacy of any of people and all that. I actually didn't tell her what room you were in either. Is everything all right?
Sure, that's the whole point. We don't know.
I see. She didn't seem nefarious to me. It's a young lady, flushed in a blue dress.
Mm,
I believe
If I
she
can tell you the number of
was...
times that a young lady has been much more dangerous than you can imagine.
Oh, believe me. As he looks around, I am well aware.
Does Gambit know of like any famous bounty hunters or like?
See, that's a fun question. Make a... This is gonna be a weird... Okay, this is a weird kind of check. Make a dexterity-based history check.
A dexterity-based history check?
Yep.
What?
What does that even mean?
Well, you can change what the different skill used in a given check is.
Hey,
And I figure for things like bounty hunters, dexterity
Okay.
makes the most sense. Even though it's
All right.
weird to ask for a physical skill for a mental check.
Okay. I'm going to trust you on this. My dex and my charisma are the same. If that changes anything.
Well,
Right.
history uses intelligence, not charisma.
Yeah, I know, but if it makes more sense to do a...
Well, then I guess it doesn't really matter
charisma.
between the two if they're the same.
Nope. Yeah.
With that, you can't put your finger on a particular one. I mean, you've heard of criminals before, but most of the ones you would have heard of would have been in Reef. Maybe a couple stories of great thieves from Vacuo, but nothing in a small town like this. Smaller town, rather.
Okay. Oh boy. So we're done with this for tonight. Thanks everybody for your support and your dedication. Let us get a good night of rest, and get up promptly, eat a good breakfast, and go to our meeting with the Lord Librarian tomorrow, and figure out what's up with Thicket. And after that, maybe we'll see if we want to try again tomorrow. They just got the time wrong.
Alrighty. Good night.
Good night.
As you all go to
Did
your
Doug
rest. Oh, sorry.
Did Doug notice anything like, I guess, any observers or onlookers as Gambit and the others rushed off?
Make a perception
Like-
check.
Because his whole mentality is they were being watched earlier, so what makes them think that they weren't being watched then? You said perception check?
Yep. Not that you saw.
What about Maverick?
That's a good question.
You know, Maverick was the only one that knew the disguised person.
Were you asking Maverick?
Hey Maverick, do you see anything?
Oh, sorry, I was working on something. I mean, I didn't see anyone come up to the fountain. There was a person that walked over there. As he points off toward the... Let's see, it would be the southern direction. Down. Where none of your people were. There's someone chilling over there, waiting on a bench for a bit.
Does it seem like the person in cheer that was disguised as the woman that we were trying to save? Did it give off that kind of vibe?
No, and didn't we kill her?
It took a few attempts.
That's true, it did. No, it looked like, I mean, short for y'all, tall for me, person. All black.
Did it seem like they were intent on scoping out the area, or were they just bird watching?
I don't know, they were pretty much motionless for about 20 minutes there. I think I saw their head turn once. They had this big stick looking thing with them.
Like motionless, like head facing a wall? Like
They were facing
Not-
toward the... As he looks around, kind of this direction, and he gestures kind of in the direction that from the vantage point would have allowed them to see the library and the fountain.
So they were looking in the I guess point of interest direction. So that
I
seems
guess.
pretty.
I thought we were waiting for someone to come to the fountain. I didn't realize they would be important over there. Sorry.
Well, next time you see someone, can you just let me know
Sure
rather
thing.
than me?
Got it.
Thanks. So then I guess they walk back.
Garand is right. See something, say something. As y'all get back and presumably take your long rest, that would put y'all toward just after 9 a.m. As we reach just after 9 a.m. on Sunday, the 21st of May, year 417 post-schism. The moon is in the same position. And I think as we take that long rest, we're going to go ahead and take our 10-minute break and then come back as you all go to your meeting.
Alright.
I'm setting an actual timer this time, not that it really matters, because we just kind of start back whenever we start back, you know? Mysterious letters. Love a good random love letter at just how anxious it shows the party is. If you ever need to test just
I
how...
mean, if it turns out that
Or it turns out that
I was
what?
just gonna say, like, if it turns out that Gambit has like a love interest, that's gonna be fantastic.
Like a love interest or a criminal trying to find, or a detective trying to find them, or why not both? Why can't we have an enemies to? I don't know. Sounds pretty on brand for Jocelyn.
I mean, don't tell me Gambit was a spy that went undercover, but then I guess was portrayed as this convict that then I guess their partner was their love interest and is trying to find them.
Oh. Who knows, man? I don't actually have much that I need to do during this break. I'm just chilling. I guess I should go refill my water while I have the time. Blah. Our first message in a while on stream. Like the first chat in a while.
What'd they say?
Was an ad
Oh,
that I had to clear from the chat.
that's
So I was like,
sad.
this isn't belong here.
An ad for what though?
Streamrise.com. It doesn't even have the proper .com on it.
Just say Mountain Dew 3 times in the
Mountain
mirror,
Dew,
and
Mountain Dew,
Mountain
Mountain
Dew
Dew.
will come.
Mountain Dew will sponsor us. Can I do the same thing with
No,
Oh, they'll just
they'll
arrive.
do like an ad.
Can I well, I don't have ads turned on for this stream, so no one should be getting ads to begin with.
There's probably some sort of like internal filter on Twitch that takes out any comment that's an actual link.
Yeah.
From,
No,
like,
that's you can at
other
least turn
people
that on. I
that
think I
aren't,
have that on.
the host.
I'm pretty sure I
mods.
have that on for ours because I'm pretty sure that's an option that only mods can post links.
Which is probably why it was .com instead of .com.
Yeah.
TikTok is like that. It censors comments that have too many numbers that could be a phone number, or comments that are links to websites.
With Streamrise, you can easily increase the number of viewers, views, and subscribers to your channel using your personal account.
That sounds like a scam.
I think it's like a Twitch promotion product.
Sounds like a scam.
Probably is.
It's a scam just like people who invite you to find followers and sell a product to them so they can build larger followings. And you get a slice of their following joiners, and then the people above you get a slice of following joiners. Or the IRS.
That sounds like a pyramid scheme.
The IRS? Yeah.
No, what I love are the people who want something for free, so that they can get
so they can give you a shout out on their Instagram.
Yeah, they can give you views.
Free
or whatever.
publicity.
Publicity, that's the word.
I was about to say, if any influencer ever tries to do that, my answer would be based on the influencer. Because let's be real, some of those with crazy followings, like, no, yeah, you can shout us out on your thing and I'll give you a free access to our campaign book or something, then I'm going to make it. They'd have to be a sufficiently large D&D YouTuber.
Yeah, that's what half the sponsorships are, but they're usually on large channels.
Yeah.
Unless it's Raid Shadow Legends, in which case they just ask everyone.
Whether it has to do with games or not.
Yeah, because they're a scam.
Straight up, a video essay on AI I was watching the other day, and they had a Raid Shadow Legends ad, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
I see it everywhere. And I'm pretty sure I remember a Linus Tech Tips video about how they weren't running Raid Shadow Legends ads anymore because it's a scam.
Oof. The ads or Raid Shadow Legends in general?
Both? I don't know. I've never played it, and I nor do I want to.
Pretty sure it's one of those very heavy microtransaction apps.
Oh yeah, totally.
I'm for games that don't have a humongous reliance on microtransactions. It's actually one thing that I can give a heavy salute to Genshin for, because they're very good about not having humongous amounts of microtransactions. Sure, they have some. It's still a gacha game where you can buy more pulls for whatever you're trying to go after, but you can just play as a free player and pretty much be fine. Like I did for like a year and a half before I got too big for my phone. And I wasn't even really hurting for characters I wanted either. Managed to get not every character I wanted, but I managed to get most of the characters I wanted without paying a dime. But as Mori can attest to, I have insane gacha luck.
Which ones did you not get that you did want?
The legalese girl in Liyue,
Yanfei.
Yanfei. Yanfei is great.
You don't have Yanfei?
I don't think I might have Yanfei. I don't know. Did I get Shenhe?
What are we
Shenhe.
talking about
No,
now?
you don't have Shenhe.
No, I
Pokemon?
don't have Shen.
You have three banners.
Nah, Genshin, a RPG gacha game that actually does pretty well on the RPG side, to the point where even if you never did any pulls and kept with the same 5 characters it gives you for free, you could probably beat a substantial portion of the game.
I remember when microtransactions were not in absolutely everything.
Those are the days, man.
That's a long time ago.
Genshin is a lot of open world exploration. There's also quests and storylines you can follow. There's like a crap ton of stuff you can do just to like suit whatever type of gameplay style you like. Like there's a section where you can like have your own house and put in furniture and like decorate it however you want, if that's what you like. There's a card game within the game itself if you like that. There's combat. There's a lot of combat. But a big chunk of it is like open world exploration, finding chests, defeating monsters, collecting materials to make your characters stronger.
Interesting.
All right.
Great thing about
It's like
Genshin,
Breath
though,
of
is
the
that
Wild,
weapons
but
don't
gacha
break.
game.
Honestly, that's actually a fantastic description. Is it's Breath of the Wild, but it's also a gacha game, and you can make a house.
It is like bigger than it. It's like an ever expanding Breath of the Wild.
Genshin is
But
huge.
the combat is very similar, and like the kind of way that you gather resources.
I would
Except for the weapons don't break.
Yeah, and I would very much disagree that the combat's similar, honestly, having played it. I think the exploration is very similar, but I don't think the combat's similar. I would disagree on
Well,
that.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I
combat's
don't
not similar.
do combat in either Genshin or Breath of the Wild, so I wouldn't know.
Dude, I do all the combat. I've very much enjoyed.
I'm gonna throw bombs at you from a distance until it dies, kind of gal.
I did
so-
that for a little bit, and then I realized it was more efficient to just attack.
Genshin combat is like a lot of picking characters that go well together, and like each character has their own different abilities, whereas like Breath of the Wild is like using the materials that you have.
I did a quartet of healing characters at one point to where I basically couldn't die until I got to way above my level. And
Yeah.
then I kind of
You
capped out.
Never leveled up Chi-Chi.
Yep.
I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of context because I don't own a Switch.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh,
Genshin
Breath of the Wild is probably
on,
just one of the best games ever
PC,
made. Fine.
PlayStation, and mobile.
And apparently, Tears of the Kingdom makes Breath of the Wild look like a tech demo. So, Tears of the Kingdom is probably one of the best games of the
yeah, I
decade
haven't
for sure.
finished it yet, which is really sad. But I got paralysis on Tears of the Kingdom.
Oof.
Hmm.
Break
And then
things down
Honkai
into
Star
smaller.
Rail is the same as Genshin Impact, except the combat is turn-based, and the decisions you make in quests have consequences.
Oh, and Honkai is also sci-fi-ish.
Yes, it's in space.
But that's all context outside of this. I may make a Genshin like items thing and sell it at one point, but that's a thing for another time. For now, we're going back to Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, thicket lore, thicket lore, thicket lore.
All right, this song is too slow. Let's get into a little bit more adventure-y. This is also too intense.
I forgot you were playing music.
There we go. This is more chill, more about the kind of stuff we're looking for. Final Fantasy VII Remake music. So we come in at roughly 9 in the morning, around when you would end your long rest. I guess we should check, is there anything anyone wants to do over the long rest? In particular, the main person that might want to do something is Thicket. Do you want to change any spells, and would anyone like to change any items they're attuned to?
Unless you guys want me to prepare air bubble for some sort of like portable hole plan, then I'm gonna leave my spells as is. I just switched one.
If
Because we're not
we have
traveling and
to
don't need
do
create and destroy water.
a portable pole plan, then we've got bigger problems. Probably.
I have
don't
lots
know.
of healing. I have pass without trace. I have hold person and lion's maw, entangled, earthbind.
I think we'll be okay without the air
I think
bubble.
we're good.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are y'all doing? It's 9 a.m. You have 2 hours before your meeting.
Stressing.
Okay. Thicket is
Yeah, but it's
vibrating
gonna
in the
make sure
corner.
that Thicket gets a good, well-rounded breakfast.
You go down to see a fairly nice setup. At this point, it's a little bit later in the morning for what some people do, especially with how a lot of people in this, medieval style world would get up roughly around dawn. Actually, at this point in the year, probably close to 5:45, or 5:30 even, since you're coming in toward the beginning of proper summer. So yeah, maybe not 5:30. I don't know, 6 something. We'll say 6 something. But at this point, it's a bit later. You see Gerald cleaning up a couple of tables, talking with someone who has come in and seemingly set themselves up at the bar. You assume some kind of shift change at this point. And as you come down, he happily offers selections of warm or cold breakfast foods. Whether you want meats and cheeses, a warm oatmeal type thing, or even some eggs, he'd be happy to cook them for you, as it appears he takes care of the breakfast food at least. They have seen he does not seem to take care of the other meals from the previous night. Being able to get you guys organized into whatever food you wanted. Assuming you all eat breakfast, that would take a few minutes.
I want some eggs and toast.
I can do that for you.
Thicket wants cold beans.
Cold beans?
Yes.
Let's get something other than cold beans.
You want them like on toast? I've heard that's a thing up north they do.
Beans, the musical fruit.
I thought it was a
Are the
bean, not a
cold
fruit.
beans good on toast?
I don't know.
This music
I
got
personally
very
never
intense.
We can
Put
try
them
it
on
with
toast, but
She could barely afford moldy bread. I don't think she could afford to heat the bread.
He,
Sorry.
you're good. Female player playing a male character. It happens.
And it's worse because it's a male cat. It's very.
Yeah. Actually,
It took me a year,
I think
right?
that was toward.
We were
I think
talking about Gambit.
yeah, I think that was toward Gambit, but still.
same thing.
Oh, okay.
Doug is going to question Maverick because he forgot to ask this earlier.
Nope.
Just,
As
hey,
Maverick looks up from his basically just half bar of salami. Huh?
I forgot to ask this yesterday, but was that person that you saw there before we got there, or did they show up after?
I think they showed up about 40 minutes after we got there, around 11-ish.
Okay. Did it seem like they noticed us?
I don't know. They seemed to take their seat and sit. I'm kind of surprised you all didn't see them. So I guess they were wearing all black.
And then Doug is going to mention to Gambit what Maverick said he saw and ask, do you know anyone who looks like they wear black all the time?
Yes, Gambit. Does anyone in the underworld wear black all the time?
I don't know. Yeah, all the time. Everyone wears black.
Maybe like
Was there
not many, but yeah.
were there any other defining features other than they just wore all black?
And then Doug kind of gestures to Maverick of like, were there?
They were short for y'all, tall for me, about the height of Gambit. They probably had hair, but I didn't really see it. And they had this long, like, cane thing with them.
Oh, see, there we go.
Was the cane like scary beyond all reason?
No. It was just kind of like a really wide cane. Like, the top
Did it
part
look
was...
magical?
I couldn't tell from 50 feet away. It didn't look like it to me. It just looked like a cane that was like the top part, the cane part was like thin and normal sized, but then like once it got down to the haft, it got really wide and then really thin again. Like a triangle going downward. But thinner. Not
An
like a big
umbrella?
thing. I don't know. Maybe.
Was it blue?
I couldn't really tell. Maybe. Wasn't black. It was some other color. A little lighter. It may have been blue. Also might have been green.
It was kind of dark out, so...
It was.
Yeah.
I mean,
true.
everything looks a little bit blue when the moon is what you're going by. Even, like, the black clothes are a little bluish. But, like, so is the grass at that point, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your help.
Y'all are welcome. Honestly, I'm surprised y'all didn't see it. Y'all are so much better at seeing things than me.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you see too much and can't see anymore.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
You know what, Maverick? Maybe the next time you see something that you think the rest of us should probably see, maybe we could come up with some kind of like...
I didn't know you were supposed to see it. I thought we were looking at the fountain. They were like 70 feet away from the fountain. Please.
Or how about this? Anytime we're in a... We're looking for someone within a time frame.
Stakeout?
Yeah, stakeout. And there doesn't seem to be anyone that should be around, but there's someone that is around. perhaps you could do some kind of sound that's not unforeign to...
Like a dragon.
Well, I'm pretty sure a dragon might be foreign to townsfolks, but
Like
we
a
don't want
mouse.
to do it. Yes.
Here.
But-
Squeak, squeak. How's that?
Could you make it sound more like of what a mouse sounds rather than how we say it sounds? Sure.
Huh? I don't know. That's the best I got. While maintaining that it goes over the microphone's minimum barrier level.
Perfect.
Sorry, I was
Just
breaking the fourth wall right there.
Just kind of use your own judgment on a sound loud enough for us to hear, but not for the third party to hear.
He gives you a clawed thumbs up. Not a clawed thumbs up, but a claw.
That I was
thumbs up.
doing mental gymnastics.
Wait a minute. Doesn't
Clawed.
Claude have telepathy?
Yes. A bit.
Okay, well, never mind, that won't work because Claude now has his own body now and is autonomous.
Yes.
Maybe
Rights for Claude.
maybe on stakeouts we could take Claude with us.
I forgot we had Claude.
And then he can stay close to you. So if you see something, you can tell Claude in a whisper, and then Claude can telepathically tell one of us.
That seems like a smart idea. Don't you agree? Yeah, sure. Wonderful. Speaking of, how do beans taste?
They're cold.
Oh. Is
Do you
cold
like
a
it,
good
Thicket?
flavor?
We can switch. You can have my omelet.
No, I'm good.
Are you sure?
I'll just keep my cold beans.
Depressed
You should
beans
put
are
some
best
pork
beans.
like horseradish or something in there. Make them a little bit more flavorful.
What are horseradishes?
That's a great question.
Is that like a horse food? Besides, eating a horse?
Are they alive?
No, it's like a turnip.
Yeah,
Turn up
Do they
for
look
what?
made
like
into a
horses?
sauce.
It's like a spicy turnip.
Do they
What are
look
we
like
turning up
horses?
for?
Turn up for what?
Sorry, I interrupted you, Thicket.
Turn up for what?
Do the radishes look like horses?
No,
No.
which is very disappointing. They'd be much cooler if they looked like horses.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know it doesn't. The world isn't fair.
Not everything has to make sense. Some things make dollars.
What's a dollar?
What are dollars?
Anyway. Is there anything y'all would like to do after breakfast? Are y'all biding your time until the meeting? Or
Don't we have a meeting? When's the meeting with the library lady?
11.
What time is it?
about 9:40?
I mean, we could get there a little early.
Yeah, let's get there a little early.
Alright, as the party exits the inn, the nice dancing goose, I need 2 of you to make perception checks and also Garan specifically to make a perception check. So 2 of you of your choice and also Garan.
Doug is
It's
not.
one. John, what's your perception?
+1.
Okay.
I have not rolled above a 6 this session.
Yeah,
I got a good one.
You're making up for the fact that last session y'all had golden luck.
Yeah.
Well, they did.
That's true. You didn't get good luck last session either. Maybe you're just giving all of your luck to Chris or John or Sam rather. Okay.
No, I haven't. I was gonna say I haven't had good rolls either. So
For any of you who care, I don't know who would. I was just gonna mention it because it's the thing. Walking out of the inn, you know that this inn is in one of the more open areas, toward the western side, northwestern toward the river. And there is an opening where there are docks, and as the walls of this town kind of end as they meet the water, as typically it's easier to keep Grimm away in the water or build a ridge that they can't climb up easily out of the water. And so there's usually not walls between the water and the land. And so there's a small hill going down toward the docks. The day's a bit warm, but there's a nice light wind. And catching John and Garon's eyes in particular, though they would also be able to see if he looked over there. You see the owner of the Dancing Goose, Grace Lavania, sitting under a tree, seemingly writing something in a book, looking out toward the docks, now in a more pink dress rather than the blue she'd had the other day. Basically, this is just my excuse to share art because I saw art that I was like, this works perfectly for this character. So I went ahead and grabbed it. Here is Lady Grace Lavania.
Nice.
they're back.
You don't have to do anything or interact with her. I just wanted to share the art.
I just wanted to share that she looks pretty today.
Pretty much.
Purdy.
She looks pretty today.
Aw, she looks like she's about to do a Sailor Moon.
She does look like she's about to be a Sailor Moon character, it's true.
It looks like I reincarnated as the villainous Menwa character.
Yeah, that's fair. She does look like she belongs in the or manhwa. But as y'all continue heading toward the library, you would easily get there with an hour at least to spare. The
Thicket
park
turns into a weasel and hides in Gambit's jacket.
Weasel Thicket hiding in Gambit's jacket. The park is a bit more occupied. You see some children playing, an old couple sitting feeding birds. It's not terribly busy necessarily, but it definitely has people in it, especially compared to midnight the previous day. The library doors are closed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the library itself is closed, but the doors are shut.
We learn.
Are you entering, or are you going to do something else before time?
Let's go in. I'll go in anyways.
Mm-hmm.
All right, as the party goes in,
Yeah, it's like
you would see, instead of the young man that had been there the previous night, today there is a younger halfling woman with long, well, not long, but just past shoulder length, white hair, sitting on a fairly tall chair, bringing her up to the same height that the boy had been sitting at the previous night. You would guess she's a little bit older, though halflings are hard to tell sometimes. But she seems to be reading a book. You're not sure about what, but you see a few arcane symbols on one of the pages. Whether it be a study on something or a practical workbook, who knows? But she seems to be sitting in the same sort of librarian front desk position that the boy was in. Looks up. Oh, hello. What can I do for you?
We have a meeting with the lady.
Oh, she looks down on her thing. The 10 a.m. meeting already came. Oh, are you
was
the next one?
At 11.
Oh, okay. You're the
We're just here early.
messengers. with
Yes.
Thicket. Which one of you is
Correct.
Thicket?
Gambit will whisper into his jacket, hey Thicket, do you want to come out? Was that a meep once for yes, beep twice for no?
I don't know.
The jacket goes silent.
Thicket is unavailable right now.
Oh. Well, I guess that's okay. As long as you're all still the group, I don't know that it matters. Should I let her know what this is about, for her to plan or anything? Or do you just want to enter the meeting as is?
I think we have a lot to cover, so I think it's best it would be hard to give her an MO, so let's just keep it as is.
Alright, you're welcome to peruse the shells. As long as you're within the vicinity, I should be able to find you probably 10 minutes before 11 and get you set up. Or lead you into her wing.
Sounds good.
Alright, and are y'all researching anything in particular for the hour? Or just perusing the shelves?
Garon's gonna try to look into the villain.
Doug is going to ask about white memory.
Are you asking the attendant girl, or are you looking around for stuff about white iron?
Yeah, Doug is going to stop the assistant
All
and the
right.
staff. Excuse me. Do you have anything on white memory?
White memory?
Yes.
I don't know that I know what you mean.
Or anything
I guess
about
memories can come in any colors.
I mean, I guess that's true. I don't know. I'm not a expert on that, but
Neither am I. I deal mostly
maybe
in. Oh, sorry.
maybe something about weapons used during the the Rose Battle,
Rose battle?
or I guess any battle.
I mean, weapons that have been used in battle is a very big list. That's most of them.
Hmm.
I can send you over to the warfare section. Can you describe to me what white memory is?
It's a material that apparently forms in places that hold some sort of significance in history.
Huh. I feel like I remember hearing about this, but I don't know for sure. I can get you one of the other students who has more of a focus on transmutation. They know more about those types of materials than I do. Sorry, I deal with, well, it's frowned upon, but necromancy.
Ew, why is it frowned upon?
People just get a bad feeling that I'm gonna pull up zombies or skeletons, but there's a lot more to life and death than just zombies and skeletons. Oh, speaking of which,
What?
well, no, I guess I'm technically not supposed to ask that during business hours. Never mind.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we can talk about it later.
Sure, well, if you're interested, if you're interested in donating your body to wizardry after your death, we can talk about it later.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm proud of my own joke. Yeah, do you want me to grab one of the transmutation students, or just wait or look around in I guess it would be in the natural world section, maybe?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start looking if you can send a student in my
Yeah.
direction.
I'll see if I can find anyone. Over there is where the natural world stuff is. She points over to a rather large section. Let's see. So that was him. Garan, you're looking for evil ladies.
Yeah, basically.
Are we starting alphabetically?
No. Is there an elemental evil lady section? Is there an evil deity?
Elemental,
Is there an evil demigoddess section?
Well, there are individual sections on different types of creatures. So if you don't narrow it down by type, that would be a good first step. Are you starting with elementals?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and make a general intelligence check to research in the books. As you're pointed over toward the monsters section with a subsection regarding elementals. 14, all right. And what were the others researching?
I want to look for a songbook.
Songs, all right. You would be able to be pointed over to a relatively sparse music section, nothing nearly as grand as the Bardic school, you remember. But you would have been able to be pointed over to where some music is. Is
Wait.
Thicket hiding in Gambit's jacket the whole time?
Yes.
All right, and Gambit. Well, Gambit's dead. For donating his body to wizardry.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. Now, Jason will be back in a minute, I'm sure. Just muted for the second. All right, let's see. Order to go in. Let's go ahead and go in the order that I talked to people in. Doug, you're looking for stuff about memory iron, yeah?
Yes.
Make a intelligence check when looking in the natural world section.
You said history check?
Just intelligence.
Intelligence.
Finding things in a world of books is just intelligence and time.
As expected.
Well, you're going to have a rough time finding anything in the time limit. If you spend enough time here, you probably could, but at least for right now, it's going to be tough. Eventually, the attendant would come back. I'm sorry, but I wasn't able to find anyone for now, and, well, your meeting is pretty soon. Maybe you should just ask the lady about it. If not, I can keep looking for people afterward, but I'm kind of out of time for getting y'all into the
Wait.
room.
That's okay. Thanks
sorry.
anyway. Question.
Yes.
Do all of these books, like,
Have words.
is there no
in
way
them?
to distinguish between one book or the other?
Oh,
Like,
yes.
why are most of them in, like, a similar color? Or,
Well,
like...
There are limitations on binding. As she begins to go off on a fairly detailed description, as you see that a lot of these books, regardless of their age or stature, seem to have been branded with multiple different dots at the bottom. As she goes into a complex, weird combo between what we in our world would know as Braille and the Dewey Decimal System. That they have apparently, by order of the Lord Librarian, have been marking every book that comes in that is not of sufficient age to be considered artifactual and not to be harmed in any way. Marking the the jacket on each of the books. So, while it's harder for an outsider to know, they individually would be able to find something based on as she leads you to, a case of multiple different large spiral-bound books that seem to have lists of various different books and what decimals they would have.
So, this is like...
It's like a really big dictionary of what books we have.
I see. So I just look for the numbers that have iron memory?
If you were to look through here and be like, here's one for blacksmithing materials, and how to use them, it is going to be under the fifth shelf of the world history section, or of the world sciences section. Fifth shelf, about halfway down, or rather, fifth case halfway down, third shelf. As she leads you around to the book that you see is not exactly where she said, but pretty close.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Garand. Looking around in the elemental section, looking through the different books, you do find dictionaries of different elementals, information about them. You find primary elementals, ones that are made up of elemental energy from the planes, such as mephits or magmins, or primary like air, water, earth, fire elementals. Even some, such as the myrmidons, effectively prepared for war like proper elemental soldiers. All have, not all have, while they may have masculine or feminine traits, they typically are non-gendered and reproduce by, I believe it's meiosis, splitting system that cells have.
Just asexual reproduction.
Asexual reproduction. Apparently is how a large amount of elementals reproduce, or at least that's what Mike is saying right now, because he doesn't know any better, and that makes sense to him. Though there are some elementals that do have genders, such as fire snakes, the salamanders, zorns, which are a type of earth elemental, as well as, and is a pretty large one, greater elementals such as the Phoenix, Leviathan, and Elder Tempest, as well as different kinds of genies. All genies can have, or genies can be female, as can the greater elementals, though the greater elementals show less like human physical form traits. But in terms of elementals that could look like women in humanoid form, that would be the genies. Is there any other type you would like to have looked into as well during this time? You could probably hit 2.
Maybe gods, goddesses, that sort of thing.
Okay. There are what would be described as minor gods by some people, or ones that people have made up, worshipped over the years. There's a history of those. The 4 primarily viewed deities in this world, none of them take female shape. They all take masculine shape, and as far as you're aware, do not have any sexual capacity. Angels, different angels and sub-deity celestials can have female forms. Different types of angels do. Presumably some types of demons do. Grimm do not. As far as you're aware, there are next to no humanoid Grimm. There are 1 or 2 that you might be able to find, but for the most part there are not. But as far as celestials type sort of go, there are angels that take on female form. And that'd probably be all you could take care of during the time limit. And that leaves... Let's see. Was John looking at anything in particular? I can't remember.
Music.
Oh, that's right. Music. Gambit. What were you looking into? Or just around? Right, Gambit wasn't here to respond. Gambit's still muted?
Gambit is found the kids section and is reading a kid's book to him and Thicket.
No. Around 10:50ish, the young attendant would walk around and gather you all up. Yes, it is. Excuse me. It should be y'all's time about now, assuming the other meeting didn't go long. I will go get her and let her know and check and make sure that she is ready for y'all to approach. Is that okay?
Mhm.
All right, I'll be right back. As she heads off toward the same wing that Thicket was kept out of. He comes back after a couple of minutes. Yes, apparently the previous meeting had already ended with one of the students, and you should be good to come in now. If you'll just follow me. She leads you toward that same door.
This is like taking Thicket to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
You approach the door.
Gambit is going to take the ferret out of his jacket and like hold him like out like a baby. And like walk backwards slowly and carefully, so that way, like, if Thicket can't get through the door,
Aww.
it doesn't like push him out, you know? Like he'll know and not drop him.
As you do so, Thicket is squeezed against your hands, even in ferret form, and you stop and come back out of the door a little bit to relieve the pressure, as Thicket was squeezed a little bit between your hands and the door. Oh, huh? As she
I think
looks
you're gonna
back
have
at the
to
two
turn
of
your
you.
door off.
Oh. I guess I'll get the lady then. Is the ferret like a tiefling or something?
Thicket just looks sad and pathetic.
Saddest ferret. The saddest
Gambit will
weasel.
put the ferret back into his jacket. Not a tiefling, as far as we are aware. Not much is known about this little ferret's history. And that's part of the reason why we're here.
Okay. I'll go get the lady. Just wait right here. She goes, and after a couple of minutes pass, rather, before she comes back down ahead of the other person, as you would see this other form follow behind her. She is relatively average female height. She looks probably 5'3", 5'2", with another foot probably added on by her hat. As you see this fairly young, what's a good way to say this? Like young middle aged. I don't even know how to describe that.
I know exactly what you mean.
Fair looking.
Fair looking. Looks like she's probably late 20s, early 30s, you'd guess, but has an almost simultaneously older look in her eyes, but a childlike smile. As she gives you a clean smile as she comes down. The flowers on her hat, fairly bright purple, her long brown hair curling around. Her fairly elegant, slightly arcane looking witch-like robes. And behind her, almost like it's strapped to her back, but oddly, as you see her walk, seems to almost float up and down a little bit, this long broomstick floating behind her. Got two images, one that kind of is a stand-in for full body that isn't perfectly right, and the other one that, though I'd like it to look a little bit more mature, is pretty approximate for the form before you.
Nice.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah, so the larger one gives more of a general idea of her outfit and what she might look like standing up, whereas the colors and face are more toward the smaller focused image. As she steps down the stairs elegantly and walks toward you all. Oh my. As she looks pretty close to eye with Gambit. Let me see the child.
Uh, uh, it's not a. He's not a child, I don't think.
Is he older than 5 years?
No comment.
Please, let me see the druid.
Uh,
As she puts out one hand.
Hey,
As she
Thicket,
does step toward your side of the door.
this is, I
Oh.
think it's time to come out now if you can.
I guess I should introduce myself. I am Lord Librarian Sasha Hellion. It's lovely to meet you all. I've heard
It's
quite a bit
nice to
about
meet
the
you too.
messengers. I've actually
All
been
the good
pretty
things, I hope.
curious. I'm sure we'll have much to talk about. Come on.
Yes.
Does Thicket climb out?
I was just waiting to be passed over.
As you're handed to her, she looks closely at you, pulling you toward her face. Oh, little one. She does have the older-looking gray eyes, as in the picture.
Does she seem evil?
Make a vibe check, which I guess would be like insight. I guess insight is the vibe check.
Heck yeah!
You get... Okay, it's the weirdest feeling.
Woo!
Despite the fact that she looks quite young, you get a very grandmotherly feeling from her.
Ooh.
Like she has nothing
So
but
she's-
kindness for you.
That's nice.
She...
Tammy.
And as she, stepping forward toward
nice.
Thicket, the others of you could kind of see behind her that the broomstick is just floating. It's floating behind as if it's almost following her while standing up at an angle. It's not attached to her in the slightest. As she takes you into her hands, she pulls up her right and pets you a little bit. Gonna be okay. And as you feel her continue to pet the others of you, would see these light purple sparkles float up off of Thicket's head for a moment. Come on. As she turns around, keeping you in her left hand, she pulls her right up and brings it down in a straight line toward the door. There is a gap that opens up as this golden light seems to shift from the middle, pushing outward toward the barrier and edge of the door. She whispers a few words that none of you understand. Or walking through the door, thicket in hand, as the golden light dissipates. We should follow her, the younger attendant says. Well, y'all should follow her. I need to get back to work. Thank you. As she bows and heads back toward the front.
Gron was already walking through.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Already walking through.
Y'all follow behind her as you begin to make your way up toward, at the end of this hallway, as she seems to take you toward the corner, the spiral staircase that seems to be in the corner of this building and lead up toward the tower. She begins to lead you upward, and after what feels like just one floor, you get to a door, and nothing more above you. You see the ceiling, and as she opens the door, you step into a rather large, comfortable-looking room. Various bookcases around the edge, a fireplace, several chairs set up with these small tables, almost like these tables you'd expect in a school. These chairs and pretty sizable tables for things to be written on. And at the front end of the room, near the fireplace, is a fairly large alchemical setup. Various pots, jars, and elements upon this table. Bottles of various reagents of unknown origin. Some of the Bookcases have those on them as well. Various items spread around. Many books, some of which look much, much older than anything you'd seen in the library. She gestures with her hand, seemingly absent-mindedly, as she is beginning to toward Thicket, kind of talk to Thicket like an animal. It's okay, little one. Heading you as she goes. Absent-mindedly moves her right hand, and all of the chairs in the room move themselves, seemingly shifting around toward the wall, setting themselves nicely as they and their tables stack up against one of the walls between two bookcases. She gestures again, and you didn't notice before, but on top of a couple of these bookcases, there's these nicer, like ottoman, these freestanding, no-backed chairs that come out and fold together, creating multiple different comfortable chairs in the center of this room that has now become incredibly more spacious as she sits down on one toward the alchemical table. Setting Thicket down beside her. Come sit. Presumably everyone following her. And those of you with a higher perception, basically just above 12 for passive perception, would be able to, let's see, that's Gambit, Maverick, and Thicket. So Gambit, you would notice outside of one of the windows, it looks like you're about 4 stories up.
Mm.
Well, I was told you would like to speak to me.
Yes.
We'll take care of
Well,
this little
we were
one, as she pets Thicket's head. We'll take care of them when they're comfortable. We're in no rush.
So I think we had like a list of stuff that we want to talk about.
Oh, wonderful. I love efficiency.
Garand, there was your thing. I don't know if you wanted to mention. And then there's the search quest we've got going on, and then we got Thicket. So,
A quest, you say? Did you find what you were looking for when you were in Sheer? You made quite a ruckus there.
yeah, we did actually.
Oh, wonderful. What were you looking for?
Well, we're collecting a whole bunch of swords. Do you know anything about the Keyblades?
Keyblades. Well, it wouldn't be the first time that things were locked away under the guise of a weapon. Nothing under that specific name, though.
Gambit's kind of looking around like, what? How did I become the spokesperson? I'm not the person with all the quest knowledge here. Yeah. So we got like a whole bunch of different like stuff that like swords that we're looking for. We found a couple of them. But we're not sure why exactly we need them.
Doug is just going to pull 2 of his swords, the Solarium and the Shattered Memory one.
Oh, I see. As she waves her hand, and both swords float out of your hands and over toward her, where they stay floating in the air, as they seem to spin around as she inspects them. And what would you like for me to do with these?
I don't think we need you to do anything with them. We're just yeah. We're like supposed to unlock something with them.
Oh, what are you trying to unlock? As you see her feet, actually you see her entire little ottoman that she's sitting on with Thicket on her as well, begins to float just a little bit as she begins to swing her legs.
Are there teacups or like any sort of food or drink set out?
It doesn't immediately seem to be so.
Okay.
Does Thicket think of that?
Yes.
She's not reading your mind, so that wouldn't help necessarily. She's respectful enough not to read your minds, as well as using telekinesis to move around.
Doug is just gonna say something like, well, this longer sword appears to be broken. So I was wondering if you knew anything about iron memory and how to restore it. And then these other
White
swords.
iron, you mean?
Yes, white iron.
Oh.
And the other swords, we were wondering if you knew where the others that belong to this set are and what possibly they might be pertaining to.
Well, I guess that's a fun one, isn't it? First off, the sword that is made of gemstone here. What is this, chrysolite? She says, looking closely at it. I guess so. Something like that, a gemstone at least. Doesn't look like, what's the word? Topaz. Doesn't look like a topaz to me. But this sword I don't immediately recognize. It's got some old symbolism on it as she looks at a couple of the arcane symbols, as well as holy symbolism around the hilt. It's old, that's for sure. Before any of our time. Looks like pre-schism. I'd have to do some research, and even then there's no guarantee I'd find something, but I'd love to look. As for the...
We'll try and climb on her hat if she'll let her.
You make a dexterity check. Let me see what the weasel's dexterity is. Or if it has acrobatics.
It should be the same as mine, right?
It's +3. Nope. Physical attributes you take on the animals. But you have a +3 to dex for this, so...
+3 to dex. So I'll just... My regular one is a +2, so I'll just add 1. Dex check.
As you begin to climb up, you seem to climb along her hair that seems to almost stay where it is as you climb. And as you climb along the under rim of her hat, you begin to slip but get around the edge and like get your feet onto the front of it. And suddenly you feel that part of the hat tip downward and then flip back upward, seeming to throw you into the air for a moment before you land on the hat as it seems to adjust itself in her head. The rest of you, it doesn't look like she reacts in the slightest as her hat seems to move to help Thicket onto it. Now this other sword. Well, this is fun. As for repairing magical items, I can do a bit of that, though there's a smith that I'd also recommend. As for getting white iron, that's a bit more difficult. You could potentially find some at one of the museums in Vacuo, perhaps even at the college. Or, and I think this is a lot more fun, we could make some.
Like out of thin air?
Not quite. An old colleague of mine and I worked out a variation of a spell that's commonly known as legend lore that allows us to transform pure iron into memory iron. Though it does take some adventurers to help finish the job. It allows you to, though it's a bit expensive at times, relive memories of an item, see what it saw, and doing so seems to create enough energy to transform the iron. So if you have something in particular you'd like to learn about, perhaps see what this sword saw as she touches the iron memory, see what made it break in such a way. or something else. It's not my place to choose, though I would ask you for a favor if I'm going to put in energy and presumably money to help you make that.
We're listening.
Well, let's cover all the bases before we talk any form of payment, shall we? I was
Continue.
told there were other questions. So who's next? As the swords float back over toward you.
Well, I'm here to study to find out about a walker. She's a bit of a villain,
Sorry, a what?
so to speak. Well, a storm walker. Walker. I'm having a hard time. I'm sorry.
Stormwalker.
She's she seems to be a villain of some sort and is in opposition to what I know to be a Storm Phoenix who has chosen to rescue me and has done so with the intent to help me as I help him. So,
Storm Phoenix.
yeah.
Touching an Evan star? Well, now I'm curious. Tell me, does your uncle know about this? He certainly seemed to...
Not as far as I'm aware, but I have been... Go ahead.
You have been...
I'm here to learn, so...
Nothing in the slightest. He's fine. Though, I've never heard of him interacting with the Storm Phoenix. Which immediately makes you much more interesting than he is. Do you have a tattoo as well? Oh,
I was...
silly of me. She
Well, I
peeks
mean...
her head around a
and
little
I'm
bit.
lifting my hair and I'm showing, like...
Yeah, like uncle, like nephew, I suppose. Well, as for your Stormwalker,
Do you think it would be useful?
what would be useful?
Sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt.
No, you're just fine.
Would it be useful to pursue a connection with him? I mean, if from what it seems, he would rather use me to expand his reach or grow his fame or something. So I'm not sure that is something I want to do. I want to save my mother and father if possible. Restore them if possible. And
Did they pass?
I don't know. Honestly, I believe so. I mean, I was in a shipwreck with my mom when we were trying to figure out what happened with my father. We have evidence that he had perished, but it was very murky sort of situation. So it's possible that maybe he didn't. I'm not entirely certain, but honestly, my family here is my new family, and I think I'm to the point that even if I cannot restore them, I want to at least bring them to peace. But I am very happy and thankful to be with the members here, and though we are not exactly the same as when we first started, you know, my continue to connect and stay well because I've grown attached to them, and so I don't want to risk anything by going to my uncle if that's a detriment. But if you, as the keeper of knowledge, effectively, if you believe that that would be of great use, then perhaps I might. But mostly, that's it. It's I want to help the creature that wants to help me, and restore my mother and father, and from there, who knows? I'm not really a big plan sort of person. At least not yet. Maybe one day.
Oh. You sound very sweet for an adventure. I certainly hope your heart isn't broken. As for your uncle, define useful to you, him, on a physical level, emotional. I can't imagine he would be against giving peace to your parents, even if he wanted something else.
Do you think he would have it within his means to help me to restore them?
Well, he's a fairly strong sorcerer, so I imagine he'd have some help. If if your quest takes you toward him, I think it would be good to see him. I also get the feeling it would be good for him to see you. I don't necessarily know that he would try to use you to his own ends. He's a fairly strong man from what I've seen. And from the times I've spoken to him, he does talk about his family a lot. But not in a way I found possessive. It's up to you, in the end. But if you find yourself down there, I'd say hi. You never know when family will pass.
Yeah, too right, I know that. And you were saying about the Storm Phoenix also.
Oh, Storm Phoenix. Yes, they're curious creatures. I've never met one in person myself. I'm surprised it chose you to be its avatar, to be honest. Must have been the lightning in you already.
I'll try not to be insulted.
No, they're rather particular. Often they tend toward clerics in my experience. If you've ever seen a cleric summon lightning from the sky, there's a very good chance they're connected to a storm elemental in some way, as they tend to be rather close to Aether. Do you have a name for the Phoenix by any chance? Most of them have names, though I don't know them all.
Go back in the notes somewhere and hopefully find it, because unfortunately, with the I don't know if I told you guys or not, but I had started to have a flood down here, so I had to move a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
So now I'm trying to find if I have all the right notes.
that's okay.
While you're looking through your notes, can Micah describe the room again, please?
Yeah, the room is a fairly open, luxurious, large room with a fine carpet. At this point, it has several ottoman chairs set up in a circle in the central area with large bookcases on each wall. Between two of the bookcases on one wall is a stack of what looks to be about 12 school chairs with tables. At the front, or rather back of the room, there is a large alchemical table with various reagents on it, some shelves nearby that have different alchemical tools as well, a large fireplace nearby that is burning, but seemingly not making the room too warm. Even with how warm it was out today, the room feels rather nice. The vaulted ceiling goes up probably 40 feet to a point, going up from about 10, 12 feet at the edges, spiraling, or not spiraling, but coning upward to about 40 feet at the tip. There are a couple of lights that, as you pay attention, seem to be just dancing around the room, providing a good amount of light, but not being distracting.
I wonder if it's dancing lights.
Who knows? I'm also curious about this Stormwalker you speak of. I'd like their description as well.
As long as you're okay with it, then Garon would do everything to give his best. But I'm still trying to see. I'm finding some notes, but unfortunately, I don't know that I'm finding the ones I need.
You would have become aware of the name when you received the spear.
Okay. Is it the spear's name? Is it
The feather of
the same thing? The
Yeah.
Decim?
Decim.
Decim?
Yep,
Is it the same?
correct. That's the
Okay.
name.
All right.
Oh. She tilts her head. Oh. I see. She looks distantly and almost downward for a moment, before the smile returns to her face. He sounds like a fun one. But tell me of the monster in the storm. We'll get back to Decim. If he becomes relevant again.
Right, the Stormwalker. So she came in the form of a woman. And there was a moment of like, maybe I should challenge, maybe not, and I did not want to put the Storm Phoenix in the position to have to do something, so I kind of chose a neutral path. But I get the sense that I'm going to have to fight her at some point, whether it's by myself or with my friends here. But she seemed to try to be vying for control between myself and Decim. Decim feels more of a friendship, mentor sort of relationship, and with her it felt more like enslavement, servitude sort of thing.
Were you dreaming during this?
I believe so. It was very strange. Because it was the storm was coming, and we were battling a powerful person, and the feather appeared in my hand, and I began to try to see about using it, and we were successful before I was able to. But then I've been attempting to sort of attune to it and train with it and so forth. And it seemed like there was this moment where everything just kind of stopped, and this all happened. And if you've ever been in a situation where it's like, maybe it's a dream, maybe it's not, maybe you're taken somewhere, maybe it's happening internally, I'm not entirely sure, but it seemed dreamlike.
You mentioned a spear. Could I see it?
Sure. And I will show the feather, and then I will turn it into the spear version.
Well, it tends to stay in the spear shape, but you would have to summon it.
Okay.
As
All
it's as I
Okay.
would believe, I assumed at least that you typically stored it in its non-existence / pocket dimension stage that you could keep it in. Up to you though. You had it just on your back and wanted to pull it out, you could.
Right.
Huh. As it floats over to
Wasn't
her.
I having it like as like a necklace? Wasn't I having it like as like a necklace
Oh.
or something? And
Yeah,
it was
if
like
you
on like
wanted
a
to
chain, and then like I was
change it
like
onto a necklace.
yanking it
and-
off. Wasn't I? I thought I was doing that.
Sure, that sounds fun. Yeah, so you pull it off and it transforms into the spear.
Like a
See,
Percy Jackson sword.
That's what I was thinking.
she
Me
pulls
too.
it over to herself.
Yeah.
She floats it back to you. It definitely looks like something an elemental would make. As for the woman, the Stormwalker, I don't know why Decim showed it to you. A warning? Something you have to hunt, maybe? Be careful. It's warning you about it. It may not be the easiest thing to kill. Whether you have your friends there or not. So be careful. But I can't speak much more to what it is. Beings like Decim can show images of the future, of things that have yet to happen, of people. They can hide details or show details. He may not want you to know who it is yet. He may be getting you ready to kill someone or something. There's no way to tell what exactly it is. Only Decim knows that for sure. I wish I could help you more.
Right, well, are you willing to communicate with me over great distances?
Oh yes, quite easily. If something shows
If I
up.
find a way to communicate with you, I would love to.
If you like,
Yeah,
I can check in
get to
every
meet you,
now and
so-
again. I believe I have the magic to spare. If you'd like me to check in every now and again.
As long as you're willing, yes. If it can make the difference between me protecting my friends and me helping Decim, I think that's a worthy thing. So I appreciate it.
I owe your mother a favor, and I think this is the least I could do.
You know my mother.
I did. I spoke with her a few times when her and your uncle were both still in Vacuo. I suppose he still is. But she lived here for a bit. Not in vain, necessarily. I got to meet her a few times. She was a very nice young girl. I'm sorry if this is all a lot. I've been around a while. You tend to meet people.
It's just nice to meet someone that had something nice to say about her. I either haven't met them or were not happy with her choice of husband.
I don't believe I've ever met him. Once she left for Vale, I did not have the opportunity to see her again. Did she do something drastic?
I mean, falling in love might be considered drastic to some, but here I am, so perhaps that's pretty drastic to those who might not think I should be.
No. If you're alive, there's a reason. Even if it's not one you know.
Thicket will start to make his way towards the floor.
I'm sorry, Rond, for your loss.
Who's to say what tomorrow could bring? Perhaps they will come back again.
Perhaps.
Ron goes kind of off to the corner and just sits back and pulls out the violin and begins to compose.
Well, as she looks to the others. Was there anything else before we get to the little one? As Thicket hops from the edge of the ottoman onto the floor.
He'll turn back into a cat and sit next to her if there's room.
Yes, there is.
Cool.
Nope.
Alright. Well, would you like to, as she turns toward Thicket and takes one of your paws in her hand, would you like to take care of finding out some more about you first? Or would you like to wait a little bit longer while we look into one of these weapons that your fondest friend brought out?
I don't know.
Well, either way, there's something I have to do quickly. He looks up. Yes, Eliana. I need you to go to the market and purchase 20 pounds of pure iron, not the cheap slag. Use my cash. And looks back toward the rest of you. Well. She stands up, the ottoman gently setting itself back on the ground. Let's see what you are, shall we?
Okay.
And I think that's where we're going to end the session.
No! Please, we've waited months for this.
Yeah, but it's 10:30, and I don't want to keep everyone here too late, you know?
Mean
Please.
girl.
Please. Please. We waited a month.
You did. You waited an entire month.
Over a month.
Cliffhanger. He's hanging from a cliff.
I mean, what's one more week, you know?
We can put it to a vote.
Yep.
Who wants to stay?
Me.
Say aye.
I'm gonna stay. I'm good.
I can hang around for a bit.
What?
I can hang around for a bit.
Okay. Okay.
The question is, are you prepared?
Oh yeah, I can do this. There's some
Oh.
stuff I don't have prepared. This I do. And there's one thing I'd forgotten to do, which was look up and remember what Garon's parents' names were. She would know them, or well, she would know his mother's name. I don't remember his name. I don't remember her name or Garon's mother's name, unfortunately, off the top of my head. Do you remember what they are? If you don't either, that's okay.
No, that we don't. We don't talk about them enough. So
Yeah,
it's like
I
we
will
got
look
so
it up.
many other things going on. Like,
I will look it up
I'd
between
have to write
sessions.
them down more.
A lot of names to keep track of. But yeah, welcome to
Definitely.
at least one person that knew your mother.
It's been a very epic, expansive. Oh.
You've met someone who has a lot of information. Well, let's find out what you are then. She leads you over to the alchemical table, which you're too short to even really see over the top of. As she pulls out this needle connected to this glass vial. This is going to hurt a little bit, but it won't be too bad, okay?
Okay.
She's going to pull some blood from your arm, the needle, before bringing it up and adding it to this beaker, waving her hand, and there is a small light underneath it as this small yellow gem begins to burn beneath the beaker. As it does so, she continues to wave her hands as different things from around the room, different elements of plants, some different... you actually see what looks like powdered gemstone at one point, a couple of smaller different things, different reagents to whatever spell or alchemical concoction this is, move over before adding themselves to the beaker with the blood. As it begins to bubble and conjoin together, beaker lifts up, pours into this separate container held by 3 prongs of iron, this more circular bottle. And as it does so, she begins to move her finger in a stirring motion as the liquid inside of it begins to move, stirring, seemingly almost gaining in volume until it fills the bottle. Not pouring over the edge, but filling the bottle. it begins to change color from the slight rusty color it had from the reagents in the blood. As all of you can see this, whether you choose to stand up and get closer is up to you. Listen to Garon's music. But Thicket, you can easily see this as looking over the looking up to the table. Seems to have made sure it's within view of you. As she begins to spin it, she looks over. This will change color. It should let us know if Thicket is perhaps green for a Fae, blue for an elemental, or maybe something else, but my bet's on green.
My bet's on all of them. At once.
A dangerous thing to say.
Rainbow blood. She's a unicorn.
Oh, I fully
He-
knew how right you were. As the blood swirls, it begins to darken, taking on an ink-like color. As all of you see it shifting around, but Thicket, the room seems to get dark. The light of the window draining away. Everything around as your eyes are mesmerized on this flowing liquid, this seemingly darkness in a bottle. Your eyes are drawn in. You find yourself lost as the room seems to melt away. You begin to see something in the darkness. You see this porcelain white face. Eyes and mouth closed. Red markings leading from the sides of its head to its eyes. And as you gaze at its face, its eyes open and you see these red glowing eyes staring back at you. And then you see fire as you are brought back to your senses, as the rest of you would see as Sasha is doing this and looking at it. She quickly pulled her hand into a fist, and there is a burst of flame from beneath the bottle. And after a few moments of it burning up, she releases her grip, and the bottle and everything inside of it's gone, seemingly have been entirely burnt away. Oh, I think I know what happened. As she steps down, leans down toward Thicket, reaches up to your head, and pulls the circlet off of your hat. Tell me, where did you get this from?
Where did we get it from? I forgot.
Was it Lacephine?
It was Lacephine.
We got it from this woman named Lacephine. Gambit was captured by her.
What kind of woman was she?
She had a cat body, but a woman head.
Oh, okay. I think I see what happened. I think from the time this spent with her, some of her demonic energy, as she sounds like a Lamia, must have seeped onto it and must have been keeping you from entering. I'm sure that was all. Let me cast a spell, or rather, remove curse on this, and I'm sure it'll be just fine. She gives you a smile.
Is she lying?
Make an insight check.
Dun, dun, dun.
Do you want to believe her?
Yes and no.
It can't be that simple.
Does John say this?
Yes.
But of course it can. Magic bleeds into things all the time.
Yeah, but if it was just her hat, wouldn't her hat have just fallen off her head?
No, not the
Yes.
hat, the circlet. She lifts up this gemstone circlet. I believe it's copper with garnets on it. If it's a magic item that Thicket is attuned to, it's entirely possible it was attaching itself to her. Or to him, rather. You can make an
Okay.
insight check. Or make either an insight check or Okay, make an insight check. You can either use intelligence or wisdom for it.
Can I as well?
You're at a point where you can choose whether you want to believe it or not.
But I want to know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, John. I mean,
I guess you could walk through the door and we could check.
of course.
Or you could do the test again.
Yeah, we should do the test again. Now that it's off.
Sure thing. As she takes another little bit of blood from you and begins to work with all the reagents, performing the same sort of motions. If anyone has proficiency in Arcana, you can make an Arcana check.
Didn't we get one of the swords from Lysophine?
Nope. Y'all found the vault at Lacefine's. You got the only sword you have that goes to the vault you got from Selzander. You have one of the 4 swords.
What did you say we could do before I asked the question?
Anyone who has proficiency in Arcana can make an Arcana check.
Can I check and see if she's doing things the same way she did last time?
That's what the Arcana check is for.
Okay.
Sorry, Thicket. Garand. As you notice, she's not doing things the exact same. Some of it looks very similar, but you notice at certain times she doesn't say specific magical words. She doesn't use a certain herb here and there. You notice she omits the powdered gemstone entirely. And as she begins to swirl her finger around to stir it, this time it becomes a clear white. Oh, you're back to being a humanoid. Nothing to worry about.
This is I say no worries.
Garon stops
but in
playing.
in my head, there are very many worries.
All the worries.
All the worries.
Garon stops composing for a moment.
Thicket looks at Garand.
She looks over to you, and Sasha gives you a slightly pained smile for a moment before it shifts to the same one she normally does.
I'm not really sure exactly what's happening here, but I want to explain why something is amiss. There's some sort of magical confusion.
What do you mean?
Garon gives a snort that Thicket may recognize as like if Garon knows that someone's lying.
I saw a face.
What type of face?
It was.
You're doing something. You left out the gem. You changed things around. You forgot some words.
Sasha, as you start
reason for
saying
that?
this, gives you a glare. Extremely dark glare.
What are you trying to pull, lady?
Thicket kind of like backs away from her and is explaining like, I saw a face and it was white and it had red markings, and when the eyes opened they were red.
She gently moves over to you and kneels down. Takes your paw if you let her.
He doesn't.
I'll tell you the truth if you really want me to.
I don't like when people lie to me.
And that's when
So-
I say, ahem. That's why.
I'm sorry.
She's, responding to the glare.
I mean, the truth is kind of what we came to you for, lady.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen what you saw once before. There was an apprentice of a colleague of mine, and she was infected with... She was possessed by a Grim.
Oh.
And she saw the same eyes. I'm sorry, Thicket, but something in you either is or is tied to Grim. I don't know why. Don't know how. But if you want the truth, that's what it is.
Was I gotta find my notes. Was the person Asuka Yori?
So you've met. Yes.
I like her.
She's a very kind girl. She doesn't like me, but very kind. She carries a lot of weight, and I didn't want you to have to share the same fate. I don't know if you have some sort of possession like her or something else. And if you ever need my help to try and find out what it is, I will, but right now I don't know what to give you. What to help you with. Not for this.
Thank you for letting me know.
You deserve the truth, even if I'd rather you spared from it. It's one of the few things I've learned over this many years.
I think that it's right for you to want to care about people and want to protect them, but I think when it comes to Grim, people need to know. Because if there's any chance that they can prevent it, or save themselves, or protect others, I think it needs to be done. So, I think everything else is spot on. Great, you're fantastic, we love you, you're wonderful, keep doing your job. I think you need to change your thought process and how to keep that information explained. That sort of thing needs to be known.
I wasn't going to leave well enough alone, Garand. I just wasn't going to leave it in just your hands.
Well, now it's in everyone's hands, and I think that's
I suppose.
better, correct?
Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Will you forgive me, little one?
Well, Thicket, from now on, I want you to stay very close to me.
You got
Yes, I'd be careful telling anyone who makes their worth hunting Grim about what you just found out.
I can tell Asuka though, right?
Yes.
Cool.
I have no doubt she would relate and feel bad for you, but she would know and she would understand. Looking for someone to relate to, she's actually probably the perfect person for you. Now, as she stands up, I've made 2 promises so far. I'd like to get something for the sword, at least. To make some iron memories. What I would like from you is a book. It's a very old one that an ex-colleague of mine possesses. It's an old book written by a wizard named Morden. Or at least that's what we have of him. called The Eternal Starlight. It's astromancy, and I don't have any other copies of it. You can find it within the personal effects of Simeon, of Vacuo.
Ah.
If you met Asuka, you may have heard of him already. We are not on good terms, and I would like that book.
So do you want us to like steal it or like borrow it and then let you borrow it?
Whatever method you choose to get the book, all I need is the book.
Will any of this help? And Thicket pulls out Liang's spellbook.
She flips through it. Well, I'll certainly take it if you want. It's not necessarily what I need, and I'm certain my students could learn from it. If you're just offering to give this to me, I'd happily take it or even pay you for it. But I still
It
need...
is a really cool book.
Hmm?
It is a really cool book.
It is. Got a few interesting spells in it from what I can tell. Not many have managed to use that. I am forgetting the exact name, so I need to pull up your inventory and check what the spell is I'm thinking of. There it is. Not many know Lucille's Grandbolt. That's a fun spell. But, I'd happily buy it from you, but can you all agree to, retrieve the Starlight book for me?
Yes.
Good. In that case,
Thicket will take back the book and say, I'll think about it.
of course, Thicket. And I do hope you forgive me for keeping knowledge that you desired.
We'll see.
Oof.
It wouldn't be the first time I haven't been forgiven.
Mm.
Now, what weapon, what object, doesn't have to be a weapon, any object really, that has a history would you like to delve into?
I don't understand the question.
Well, in order to make memory iron, I need to look into the memories of an object. Do you have an object that you'd like to see into?
Thicket gives her the necklace with the bird skull from Arisham.
Eyes flash a moment. Unfortunately, I don't think this has what magic would consider significance in the world. It has to be a object of considerable memory and significance in order to properly function with the spell.
The broken sword?
That could work. It had to be broken somehow. So, in or out of character, y'all could decide, but basically, y'all need to decide which item you'd like to delve into. As a
Are
group.
you lying about the circlet?
Oh, yes, the circlet has nothing to do with it.
Can I keep the circlet?
Oh, yeah, of course. I was planning to give it back to you. She hands it back down from where she'd set it down on the table. We'd just gotten off track. Alright, would y'all like to end session there and over the next couple days decide in Discord what you might like to use? I would prefer sooner rather than later so I can prep everything that goes into it.
That sounds
Yeah,
good to
that
me.
sounds good.
Cool, then we'll go ahead and finish off the session there. I think we'll probably go ahead and end the recording, do our outro. And then we will do XP and stuff afterward. So as we pull back from the window. there is a shifting in the air as we move southward. The camera rapidly moves over hills and valleys and trees. We're settling back into the desert. There's a dune of sand that we shift towards, that we delve beneath as the camera seems to pass through the sand as though it's not even there. There is an opening of light as there is a door. Closed, large metal bronze door. On it, a symbol of a spiral in the middle of which is an eye. And that is where we'll end the session.
Yay. Thicket lore! Thicket lore! Thicket
Thicket lore.
lore! Woo!
That's a taste. There's a lot more.
So cool.
Yeah. She gave you the look of shut up. And and Gron was like, no!
I think it was like 2 seconds away from being like, I don't trust you.
I'm just glad that I finally rolled good.
You did. You rolled great. I mean, you rolled even better
That was my-
last time, but for
That was
the
like my
first
only
time,
roll above 11.
yeah, this session you were not.
No, I
doing
rolled
great.
fantastic. I rolled fantastic.
Last session you rolled
This
amazing.
is the first one above 11 was right here.
Yeah.
Or no. I got 117 on something. It was like an animal handling for Jackie. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was a fun session. I hope it was satisfying for y'all. I enjoyed it.
That was dope.
It was good.
Good.
Some new art. I don't know who I'm gonna put on the
Yeah,
cover of
Garon's
next
going
week.
in like uber protect mode though. He's all like,
Even you, grandma,
Paranoid,
young
like,
grandma
parent.
witch, would lie to her. Would lie to him.
Yeah, well, Gambit is finding a new calling, and that is researching Grim.
Yeah. Trying to figure out what's going on with Thicket.
Yeah, well, like he was intrigued when it was about what's her name, Asuka.
Yeah.
But now that it's become personable, not personable, personal, he's like, okay, cracking some knuckles. Like he was about to ask, about when she was like, is there anyone else? He was about to ask, like, oh, what about Grim that have personalities and are kind of people? And he was like, well, nah, she probably doesn't really know anything. Not knowing, like, if she knew about Asakar and whatnot. And little did he know.
Yeah, you've met.
Asuka was gonna
Arguably.
come up.
No, she is, I would say, from like the second most knowledgeable person in general in all of Vacuum.
Yeah.
Nice.
There was one person who I would say probably knows
doesn't
more than
know.
her, but y'all probably. There's a decent chance y'all may never meet that other person.
So cool.
Interesting.
I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. Thanks for coming, YouTube, for all of you that watch. We appreciate having you. We hope you have a wonderful night and a fantastic new year. Goodbye.